I never told anyone about the stairs in my basement. Not because I was afraid of being called crazy. I was afraid that if I said it out loud, the stairs would hear me and know that I knew, and I didn't want them to know. I wanted them to stay hidden, the way they'd been hidden for the first 3 years I lived in that house. I bought the house because it was cheap. Victorian, 1892, with a wraparound porch and a turret that made it look like something from a horror movie. The real estate agent called it a fixer-upper with character. I called it all I could afford. The basement was unfinished. Stone walls, dirt floor, a single bare bulb that flickered when you pulled the string. I didn't go down there often, just to do laundry and check the fuse box and pretend I wasn't scared of the dark. The stairs were behind the water heater. I discovered them on a Tuesday when I dropped a quarter and it rolled behind the tank. I knelt down to reach for it and my fingers touched wood, not the rough stone of the foundation. Wood, smooth and old and cold. I pulled out my phone and shone the light behind the water heater. There was a door, small, maybe 3 feet high, set into the stone wall. The wood was dark, almost black, with iron hinges that had rusted to a deep red. There was no handle, just a keyhole, and the keyhole was empty. I could see through it to the other side. Darkness, not the darkness of an unlit room, the darkness of a place that had never known light. I didn't try to open it. I backed away. I finished my laundry. I went upstairs and closed the basement door and didn't go down there again for 6 months. But I thought about the door every day, every night. In my dreams, I would stand in front of it, my hand on the wood, feeling the cold seep through my palm, and on the other side, I would hear breathing. Slow, deep, patient. The breathing of something that had been waiting for a very long time. I started sleeping with the lights on. I started checking the locks 3 times before bed. I started drinking too much, just to shut my brain off. My friends asked if I was okay. I said I was tired. I said work was stressful. I didn't say anything about the door. On the night of the winter solstice, I woke up because the house was cold. Not the usual draft from the old windows. A deep bone cold that came from below, from the basement. I got out of bed. I walked to the basement door. It was open. I always kept it closed. I walked down on the stairs. The bare bulb was off, but I could see. A green light was coming from behind the water heater, faint and pulsing like a heartbeat. I moved the water heater. It was lighter than it should have been. The door was open. Not the door I remembered, the one with the keyhole and the iron hinges. That door was gone. In its place was a staircase, narrow, steep, made of the same dark wood leading down into the green light. I should have gone back upstairs. I should have called a priest. I should have burned the house down. Instead, I stepped onto the first stair. The wood was cold. It creaked under my weight. I kept going. Second stair, third, fourth. The green light grew brighter. The air grew colder. I could see my breath. I could hear the breathing now, not behind the door, but all around me. In the walls, in the floor. In my own chest, the stairs ended at a landing. The landing opened into a room, not a basement room, something else. The walls were stone, wet with condensation. The floor was dirt, packed hard by thousands of feet. And in the center of the room, there was a chair, a rocking chair, old, wooden, with a high back and arms worn smooth. And in the chair, a woman. She was old, older than anyone I'd ever seen. Her skin was the color of parchment, thin and wrinkled, stretched over bones that seemed too fragile to hold her together. Her hair was white, long, tangled with leaves and small bones. Her eyes were closed. Her mouth was open. She wasn't breathing, but I could hear breathing, coming from her, coming from the walls. I took a step toward. The dirt crunched under my foot. Her eyes opened. They were not old eyes. They were young, bright, green, like the light that had guided me down. They fixed on me, and I felt something I'd never felt before. Not fear, not dread, recognition, like I had known her my whole life, like I had been looking for her without knowing it. "You came?" she said. Her voice was dry, like leaves skittering across stone. "I knew you would. They always come, the ones who hear the door, the ones who feel the cold, the ones who dream of the stairs." I asked her who she was. "I'm the woman in the basement," she said. "I've been here for a long time, longer than the house, longer than the street, longer than the town. I was here before the trees, before the grass, before the people. I was here when the world was dark and cold and quiet, and I'll be here when it's dark, quiet again. She raised her hand. Her fingers were long, thin, with nails that curled like claws. She pointed at me. "You have something of mine," she said. "You've had it since you were a child. You don't remember. But I do. I remember every person who has ever taken something from me, and I remember what they took." I shook my head. I said I'd never taken anything. I said I'd never been in this basement before. I said I didn't know her. She smiled. It was not a nice smile. It was the smile of someone who has been waiting for a very long time and is finally getting what she wants. "When you were 7 years old, you found a key. It was on the ground in the park near the old oak tree. You picked it up. You put it in your pocket. You took it home. You hid it in your sock drawer. You forgot about it, but I didn't forget. That key was mine. It was the key to the door that kept me in, and you took it." She reached into the folds of her dress. She pulled out a key, brass, old, with a bow shaped like a skull, the key from the door, the one I had found when I was 7. "I've been waiting for you to come back," she said. "I've been waiting for you to bring the key, but you didn't bring it. You left it in your sock drawer, in your childhood home 300 miles away. So I had to wait. I had to watch. I had to listen. I heard you move. I heard you grow. I heard you buy this house, build it on top of my stairs, live your life while I sat in the dark." She held out the key. "Take it." I didn't move. "Take it," she said again. "Open the door, the real door, the one behind the stairs, the one that leads to the place I came from. Open it, and I can go home. Open it, and you'll never see me again. Open it, and the cold will stop. The dreams will stop. The breathing will stop. You'll be free." I asked her what was behind the door. She smiled again, wider this time. "Something older than me. Something that's been waiting longer than I have. Something that wants out." I took the key. I walked to the far wall of the room. There was a door there. I hadn't seen it before. It was made of the same dark wood as the stairs, with iron hinges and a keyhole that glowed green. I put the key in, it fit. I turned it. The door swung open. Behind it was not a hallway, not a cave. It was the dark. The dark I had seen through the keyhole when I was 7. The dark that had no end. And in the dark, something moved. Something large. Something that had been sleeping for a very long time and was now waking up. The woman in the rocking chair stood up. Her joints cracked. Her bones creaked. She walked toward the door. She didn't look at me. She looked into the dark, and she smiled. "Thank you," she said. "I've been waiting for 100 years. You've given me back my home." She stepped through the door. The dark swallowed her. The door slammed shut. The key fell from my hand. The green light went out. I climbed the stairs. I went back to my bedroom. I got into bed. I closed my eyes. That was 3 years ago. I've lived in the house ever since. The door in the basement is still there, but it's just a door now. Wood and iron and a keyhole that shows nothing but stone. The cold is gone. The dreams are gone. The breathing is gone. But sometimes late at night I hear something. Not from the basement. From the walls. From the floor. From the air. A voice. Not the woman's voice. Something older. Something that was behind the door. It says, "Thank you for letting her out. Now, let me in." I don't sleep anymore. I sit in my living room with all the lights on, watching the basement door, waiting for it to open. It hasn't opened yet, but the walls are getting colder. And last night, I saw a crack in the foundation. A small crack in the corner of the basement where the stone meets the dirt. And from the crack, a green light, faint, pulsing, like a heartbeat. I'm writing this because I need someone to know. Not because I think it will help, but because if I don't tell the story, I'll forget that I was the one who opened the door. I'll forget that I was the one who let her out. I'll forget that I'm the one who has to close it again, but I don't know how to close it. The key is gone, the woman is gone, and something else is coming. Something that was behind her. Something that was waiting for her to leave so it could take her place. Tonight, I'm going to go down to the basement. I'm going to look at the crack. I'm going to see what's on the other side. And if it's the thing that spoke to me, the thing that said, let me in, I'm going to say no. I hope I have the strength. I hope it doesn't ask twice. I hope you never find a key in a park. I hope you never buy an old house. I hope you never hear breathing in the dark. But if you do, if you find a door, if you find a key, if you find a woman in a rocking chair who asks you to let her out, don't do it. Walk away. Burn the house down. Move to a city. Live in a high-rise. Never go underground, because the dark is patient, the dark is old, and the dark is hungry. It's been waiting for a very long time, and now, thanks to me, it knows the way out.